My dear friends in Jesus, I welcome you all to this daily Catholic reflection. This is Father Velangini Thumma, and today we are on Tuesday in the 6th week of Ordinary Time, and we are continuing with our reflection from the Gospel of Mark. And today the section given to us is Mark chapter 8, verses from 14 to 21. And we have been reflecting about various miracles that Jesus performed, and today Jesus notices that in spite of all these miracles, the disciples are spiritually blind because they forgot to bring bread with them. They brought only one bread. Then Jesus says, be careful about the leaven of the Pharisees and that of Herod. Leaven is called also yeast. What it does, when you make bread, when you add the leaven or the yeast, it affects the entire flour, and it affects so much so that everything, all the flour will change the taste. And Jesus says, you be careful, be aware of the Pharisees' yeast or leaven. What does it mean? A little bit of leaven or the yeast affects the entire flour in the process of making the bread. So also, if you are in the company or if you follow the lifestyle and the philosophy of the Pharisees, you will also become like that. Because in yesterday's gospel, the Pharisees were asking for a sign, and Jesus says, no sign will be given to this generation. And Jesus indirectly saying to his own disciples, you are not much different from those Pharisees, because the Pharisees, they were asking for a sign, and you guys, you forgot what I have been doing, all the miracles I have been performing, because you are sad that you have only one bread. And what is the leaven of the Pharisees? We read in Luke 12, chapter 12, verse 2, that what does Jesus mean when he is telling the disciples to be careful, be aware of the leaven of the Pharisees? Luke 12, verse 2 says, he's talking about the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy of the Pharisees, he's calling to be careful about, because if you are not careful about it, even you will be affected, and you will also be transformed and become like that. And coming to the disciples, they are spiritually blind because they are not able to see who is with them and what this person can do to them. Because they have, as Jesus said, why are you sad that you do not have bread? Can't you understand? Can't you grasp? Have your hearts become hardened like stone? You have eyes, but you are not able to see. You have ears, but you are not able to hear. Don't you remember that when I fed the 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish, how many baskets were remaining? And when I fed the 4,000 people with 7 breads, how many baskets were remaining? Jesus is reminding them, you are spiritually blind because you are not able to see what I have been doing. My dear brothers and sisters, we, all of us, are like that. Looking back to our own life, God has done so many miracles to each of us, but we are not able to grasp His power. The disciples are sad because they forgot to bring the bread. What they forgot is not to bring the bread, but they forgot that the bread of life is with them. Jesus is with them. That's why, by nature, our hearts are of stone. We are created in the image and likeness of God, but we are deaf and blind to the things of God, because our heart is not beating for the things of God. That's why probably Jesus is also calling each of us as deaf, blind, and stone-hearted. In spite of the fact that they saw so many miracles performed by Jesus, still this came back to them, this worry. We do not have enough bread. What's going to happen to us? And in the last words of today's Gospel, chapter 8, 21, you still can't understand. And Jesus was upset with his own disciples. Let us pray today for the grace that our hearts should not be hardened, that we not be deaf and not blind to the things of God, that our hearts never fail to beat for the things of God, so that we could overcome our spiritual blindness. What is the spiritual blindness? It is our inability to see the hand of God guiding our life. That is spiritual blindness. When we cannot see His power, His hand, that we are protected and guided by Him. When we fail to remember these things, then we are also spiritually blind. Let us pray for this grace today, that our inner hearts, our spiritual eyes are opened always to the things of God. I thank you for joining me every day in these reflections, and kindly, as always, pass it on to others, because the good news has to be shared with everybody. I wish you a very blessed, happy day. Take care.